This past May, I found myself floating lazily in a pond, resting on an inner tube, alongside my friend Dana, who was also on an inner tube. It was a perfect moment of stillness until I noticed a fuzzy bumblebee stranded at the water's surface. It seemed to be stuck, perhaps finding itself too wet and heavy to fly away, caught in the tension of the water, not sinking yet, but still helpless. When I noticed him, my first instinct was to search myself for guilt. Had I mindlessly swatted a bee or disturbed its flight? Did I have any recollection of him in the air even? Or was I noticing him for the first time? Did I have anything at all to do with this bumblebee's precarious position? When I determined I wasn't to blame, I let myself relax. Just nature doing nature things, I thought. I put it out of my mind. But only a moment later, my friend Dana saw the same bee and responded entirely differently. "Oh no," she exclaimed, immediately trying to save it from the water. As she looked around for something to fish out the bee, I realized I was wearing a cowboy hat that could work and passed it to her. She used the hat to scoop up the bee from the water, and as the water flowed out of the pores of the cowboy hat, the bumblebee was quickly able to dry off enough to fly from its new launch pad. And so it did. It flew away, free. I have thought about that moment many times since, wondering what it says about me. Because I am a Rotarian to my core. If I was the type to get tattoos, I'd get service above self tattooed on my chest. And yet, it hadn't occurred to me to step in. I saw a living thing in trouble, and my concern was to make sure I was not at fault. When I decided it was just nature at work, I was comfortable forgetting about it and didn't think of intervening. Meanwhile, Dana saw it struggle, and her first instinct was to act. She didn't pause to ask if it was her responsibility. She saw an opportunity. She saw that she could reach in, like the hand of God, and rescue a creature from its anguish. I was supposed to give this speech last week, and so it is purely a coincidence that, like today's speaker, I too am talking about bees. But I ended up flying east for 2 funerals. One was for a friend's grandfather, the other was for my best friend's brother, who died from fentanyl. I took the red-eye out of LAX and saw the fires raging from the sky. Whether it be a natural disaster, addiction, grief, or a struggling bumblebee, suffering and its sources can take many forms. But if we get caught up focusing on blame, we may not recognize right away our ability and our duty to offer aid to those in need. Through the power of our example, Rotarians, we remind our community that little acts can go a long way. Sometimes it is as easy as reaching out or showing up. In the pond that day, I almost missed it. My guilt and neuroses muddied the demands of the moment. But Dana saw something I didn't, how simple it could be to do good. Let's do our best to see those opportunities, to try to make a difference without hesitation, and to show others how simple it can be. Thank you.